Imagine, everything you see, feel, and experience, your entire reality, is nothing more than a highly sophisticated simulation. The air you breathe, the food you eat, the emotions you feel, and even the memories you cherish, all just lines of code running inside an unimaginably advanced supercomputer. It sounds absurd, right? Like the plot of The Matrix or some futuristic sci-fi novel. But what if I told you that some of the world's most brilliant minds, including Elon Musk and leading theoretical physicists, believe this could actually be true? What if our entire universe, with its billions of galaxies, stars, and planets, is nothing more than a digital construct, created by an unknown intelligence for a purpose beyond our understanding? Before you dismiss this as just another conspiracy theory, consider this. The simulation hypothesis isn't just a wild idea dreamed up by internet theorists. It's a serious philosophical and scientific proposition discussed in academic circles and debated by some of the greatest thinkers of our time. In fact, if we assume that advanced civilizations exist in the universe, then the idea that we are living in a simulated reality may not just be possible, it may be highly probable. But how can we tell? What evidence do we have? And if we are inside a simulation, what does that mean for our existence? Let's take a deep dive into one of the most unsettling questions ever asked: ancient philosophers and the illusion of reality. Believe it or not, the idea that reality is an illusion is not new. It has been around for thousands of years. In ancient Greece, the philosopher Plato described the allegory of the cave, in which prisoners are chained inside a dark cave, seeing only shadows cast on the wall by objects behind them. To them, these shadows are reality, but in truth they are just illusions of something greater. Plato suggested that human perception might work the same way, that what we see as reality is just a distorted reflection of a higher, truer existence. Similarly, Eastern philosophies such as Hinduism and Buddhism speak of Maya, the illusion of the material world. According to these ancient teachings, what we perceive as the physical universe is not the ultimate reality. Instead, it is a temporary projection, a dreamlike state from which we can awaken to a deeper truth. Could it be that these ancient insights were early attempts to describe what modern scientists are now considering a simulated universe, the modern simulation? Hypothesis: are we living in a digital reality? Fast forward to the 21st century, and the question of reality has taken on a new technological twist. In 2003, Oxford philosopher Nick Bostrom presented a groundbreaking paper titled "Are You Living in a Computer Simulation?", in which he outlined a compelling argument known as the simulation hypothesis. His theory is based on three possibilities, one of which must be true. No civilization ever reaches a level of technological advancement capable of creating realistic simulations of conscious beings. In this case, we are in the real world, but it also means that intelligent life tends to destroy itself before reaching such a level of sophistication. Advanced civilizations exist, but choose not to create simulations of conscious beings. Maybe they see it as unethical, or they simply have no interest. Advanced civilizations exist, and they do create simulations of conscious beings, and we are already inside one. If the third possibility is true, and statistically it is the most likely, then our universe, everything we experience, is just a sophisticated simulation created by a higher intelligence. In fact, some physicists argue that if a civilization anywhere in the universe has ever developed the ability to run highly realistic simulations, then it's far more likely that we are one of many simulations rather than the original reality. After all, how can we be sure that our thoughts, emotions, and experiences aren't just pre-programmed responses, clues, that suggest we are in a simulation? Now, let's dive into the scientific evidence that suggests our reality might be simulated. Some of the most mind-bending discoveries in physics point toward the idea that our universe behaves suspiciously like a digital construct. The double-slit experiment, reality changes. When observed, one of the strangest phenomena in quantum mechanics is the double-slit experiment, in which scientists fire tiny particles like electrons or photons at a barrier with two slits. When nobody observes the particles, they behave like waves, passing through both slits at the same time and creating an interference pattern. But when the particles are measured or observed, they suddenly behave like solid objects, passing through just one slit. This suggests that the act of observation itself changes reality, as if the universe is aware of when it is being watched. This is eerily similar to how modern video games function. In an open-world game, the environment doesn't exist in full detail until the player looks at it. Instead, the game engine renders only the parts necessary to save processing power. Could the universe be doing the same thing? Is reality only rendered when we observe it? The universe is built on mathematics. Like computer code scientists, have long been puzzled by the fact that everything in the universe, from the motion of planets to the behavior of subatomic particles, follows precise mathematical laws. But why? If reality were truly random, why would it be so perfectly structured? Theoretical physicist James Gates made a shocking discovery while studying the equations that describe fundamental particles. He found that deep within the mathematical structure of the universe, there are patterns identical to computer error-correcting codes, the same kind used in internet data transmission to ensure accuracy. In other words, reality itself appears to be built on a kind of programming language. If our universe runs on code, who wrote it? The limits of reality. Are we inside a finite system? Another strange clue comes from the discovery that the universe appears to have a resolution limit, just like pixels in a digital screen. In 2012, researchers at the University of Bonn suggested that the way high-energy cosmic rays travel through space could reveal an underlying grid-like structure to the universe. If space were truly continuous, there should be no such limit. But if space is quantized, meaning it consists of tiny, indivisible units, that could be evidence that our universe operates on a kind of computational framework, much like a digital simulation. So what does this all mean? If our universe is a simulation, then who or what is running it? Could we ever escape? And perhaps the most terrifying question of all, what happens if they decide to shut it down? Who or what could be running the simulation? If we are living in a simulation, the next logical question is, who is running it? There are several theories about the possible creators of our simulated reality. Some suggest it could be a highly advanced alien civilization, while others propose that future humans, our own descendants, might be running this simulation for research, entertainment, or even historical analysis. Advanced alien civilization. Are we an experiment? One possibility is that we are part of an alien experiment, an artificial world created by a Type 3 civilization on the Kardashev scale. To put this into perspective, humans today are not even at Type 1. We haven't yet harnessed the full energy of our own planet. A Type 2 civilization would be capable of using the energy of an entire star, while a Type 3 civilization could manipulate energy at the galactic level. Such a civilization might have computing power beyond anything we can imagine. If an advanced species reached this level, they could have the ability to create entire simulated universes, not just for entertainment, but possibly for scientific research. Perhaps they are studying the development of intelligent life, observing how civilizations evolve under different conditions. Could it be that our entire universe is just one of countless simulations running on their cosmic supercomputers? To future humans, are we inside an ancestral simulation? Another mind-blowing theory is that we are living inside a simulation created by our own future descendants. If humanity continues advancing in computing and artificial intelligence, there may come a time when we develop the ability to simulate entire worlds. Imagine a future where scientists want to study history in an ultra-realistic way. Instead of reading books or watching documentaries, they could create a hyper-realistic simulation of the past, one so advanced that the conscious beings inside it wouldn't even know they were in a simulation. This concept is known as the ancestral simulation hypothesis, and it suggests that we might be reliving a past civilization's history, completely unaware that we are just part of the experiment. But here's the unsettling part. If simulations of reality become common in the future, then the number of simulated worlds would vastly outnumber the one real world. This means the odds of us living in the one true reality are incredibly low. Statistically speaking, we are almost certainly inside a simulation rather than base reality. Signs that we might be in a simulation. If our universe is a simulation, could there be glitches or anomalies that expose the truth? Some scientists and theorists believe there are already strange phenomena in the universe that could be explained as simulation errors. 1. Déjà vu, a glitch in the code. Have you ever had a strong feeling that you've lived through a moment before? That eerie sensation, known as déjà vu, might be more than just a psychological trick. Some speculate that it could be a glitch in the simulation, an accidental overlap in memory processing caused by a bug in the system. In video games, glitches can cause objects to appear twice, characters to repeat actions, or parts of the environment to behave strangely. Could déjà vu be a sign that our simulation is experiencing similar code errors? The Mandela effect, alterations in the simulation. Another bizarre phenomenon is the Mandela effect, where large groups of people remember historical events differently from recorded history. For example, many people swear that they remember the Berenstain Bears being spelled as Berenstein Bears, or that the famous Monopoly mascot wore a monocle, when in reality he never did. Some people even recall Nelson Mandela dying in prison, even though he was released and later became president of South Africa. One explanation is that these discrepancies are memory errors, but another theory suggests that they could be evidence of small changes in the simulation, as if someone is updating the program, rewriting certain details while leaving our previous memories intact. If we were inside a computer-generated reality, could these strange inconsistencies be evidence of the code being modified? Quantum entanglement, information transferring. Instantly. One of the strangest phenomena in physics is quantum entanglement, the mysterious way in which two particles, no matter how far apart, seem to communicate instantly. If one particle changes, the other changes too, faster than the speed of light. But how is that possible? According to Einstein's theory of relativity, nothing can travel faster than light. Yet quantum entanglement suggests that some kind of hidden connection exists outside our understanding of physics. This behavior is exactly what we would expect to see in a simulated reality. In video games, two distant objects can interact instantly because they are part of the same program. The system doesn't rely on physical distance, but on data connections between objects. If the universe is a simulation, then quantum entanglement might be the equivalent of a background process connecting different parts of the code. What would happen if we discovered the truth? If we ever prove that we are living in a simulation, what happens next? Would we be able to break free? Would our simulation's creators allow us to keep existing, or would they decide to shut it down? There are several possible outcomes. The simulation could be reset or shut down. If we found definitive proof that we are in a simulation, it could attract the attention of our programmers. They might see us as an unstable variable and decide to delete or reset the simulation, wiping out all of human history and starting over. If that happens, we would never know, because everything would be erased. We could learn to hack the simulation, on the other hand. If we understand how the simulation works, we might be able to manipulate it. Just as skilled programmers can hack into a system, what if we could learn to alter the rules of our reality? Could advanced civilizations already have figured this out, allowing them to bend the laws of physics and do what we consider miraculous? Could this explain paranormal events, psychic abilities, or unexplained phenomena? 3. We might already be aware but can't escape. What if the architects of our simulation are fully aware that we are questioning reality, but they've designed it so that we can never leave? Just like an AI character in a video game cannot step outside the game's programming, we might be permanently confined to this digital construct. If that's the case, then all our scientific discoveries, technological progress, and philosophical debates are happening inside a system that we can never truly escape. What if we could prove it? The ultimate reality shift. If humanity were to definitively prove that we are living in a simulation, it would be the most profound discovery in history. Every aspect of our existence, science, religion, philosophy, would be turned upside down. But proving the simulation hypothesis is not just about speculation. Some scientists are already working on it. Scientific experiments, searching. For the glitches, physicists and computer scientists have been developing ways to test whether our universe is a computational construct. One approach is to look for pixelation in space-time, a fundamental limit to how small things can get, similar to how images on a screen become pixelated when zoomed in. The lattice theory. Test scientists have proposed that if the universe is a simulation, then space itself might be made up of a grid-like structure, like pixels on a screen. This is known as the lattice theory of space-time. Researchers at the University of Bonn have suggested that if the universe is simulated, there should be an underlying energy limitation preventing particles from behaving in certain ways. If such a limit is found, it could be strong evidence that our reality is being processed on some kind of cosmic computer. High-energy cosmic rays. Are they proof of a programmed universe? Another experiment focuses on cosmic rays, high-energy particles that travel through space. Some scientists argue that if we live in a simulation, then cosmic rays should exhibit patterns consistent with a programmed system rather than purely random behavior. In 2012, researchers suggested that cosmic rays appear to behave in a way that could hint at underlying computational restrictions, similar to how video games use rendering shortcuts to optimize performance. If these tests continue to produce anomalies, could it mean that the fabric of our reality is programmed? And if so, what does that mean for us? Consciousness, the ultimate simulation code. Perhaps the biggest mystery in science is consciousness itself. How does the brain generate thoughts, emotions, and self-awareness? Some physicists and neuroscientists believe that consciousness may not be a byproduct of the brain, but rather an interaction with an underlying simulation code. The digital brain theory. In a simulated world, what if our brains are not actually creating consciousness, but simply receiving it? Like a computer receiving data from a central server. This would explain strange phenomena, like near-death experiences, out-of-body sensations, and even telepathic events reported throughout history. If our minds exist outside the simulation and are merely interfacing with our simulated bodies, then what happens when we die? Could death in this reality simply mean disconnecting from the simulation, waking up in the real world outside? Religion and the simulation. Hypothesis. The idea that reality is artificially created is not new. In fact, many ancient religious texts describe the world as a constructed realm controlled by a higher intelligence. Hinduism. The world as Maya, illusion. In Hindu philosophy, the concept of Maya refers to the illusionary nature of the world. Ancient texts suggest that reality is a fabricated experience, a projection from a higher realm. If this sounds similar to a computer simulation, it might not be a coincidence. Perhaps ancient sages intuited what we are only now beginning to realize. Christianity and the idea of a divine programmer. Many religions describe a creator being that designed and governs reality. In Christianity, God is often compared to a divine architect, crafting the universe with purpose and precision. If we take the simulation hypothesis seriously, could God be the ultimate programmer, writing the code of reality, setting the laws of physics and allowing conscious beings to experience the world? The Gnostic perspective. Are we in a prison simulation? The ancient Gnostic belief system proposed that the physical world is a false reality, a prison designed by a lesser god called the demiurge. This being created the world, but it is not the true source of divinity. The goal of human existence, according to Gnosticism, is to realize that we are trapped and find a way to escape. Does this sound familiar? It's eerily similar to the simulation hypothesis, the idea that we are inside a manufactured realm and that some outside force is preventing us from discovering the truth. Could we break out of the simulation? If we do live in a simulation, is there a way to escape it? And more importantly, Should we? The cosmic firewall theory. Some scientists believe that if we ever attempted to break out of the simulation by hacking reality or finding an exit, the system itself might have fail-safe mechanisms in place, just like in a video game, where invisible walls prevent players from leaving the map. Our universe might have built-in restrictions that stop us from discovering what's outside. If we ever push too far, would the system erase us before we could expose the truth, the digital afterlife? What awaits us? If consciousness exists beyond this simulation, what happens when we die? Are we simply transferred to another simulation, or do we wake up in a higher-level reality? Some scientists suggest that our memories and experiences might be stored as data, and that death is merely a transition where our consciousness is uploaded or transferred elsewhere. Could reincarnation be nothing more than a reset in the simulation? Are ghosts just fragments of old data that occasionally manifest in the system? These questions take on a completely new meaning if we truly are inside an artificially created world. Final thought. Do you really want to know the truth? So if we are living in a simulation, what does it all mean? Should we continue living our lives as if nothing has changed? Or should we seek the truth, knowing that we might never be able to return once we do? And here's the ultimate question. If you could wake up from the simulation, now would you? Or is this reality, as artificial as it may be, good enough? The truth may be more shocking than we ever imagined. But for now, all we can do is question everything, because the moment we stop questioning is the moment we surrender to the illusion. That's it for today's mind-blowing topic. If this video made you rethink reality, let us know in the comments below. And if you want more deep discussions like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because reality might not be what it seems. But one thing is real: our curiosity to explore the unknown. Until next time, keep questioning.